It is now 9 o'clock. I will call the meeting of the Waxahachie Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show we have 6 trustees in attendance. This meeting has been duly called, and notice this meeting has been duly posted for time and manner required by law. At this time, the board will convene into closed session according to section 551.001 et sec of the Texas Government Code. It is now 9 a.m. Okay, it is now 9:37. We're going to reconvene back into open session. At this time, our next item on our agenda would be our open forum. I don't believe we have anyone signed up to speak this morning, so we'll move into our action items with action item A. Consideration with possible action to approve an agreement with Geotech Engineering to provide the material testing services for Waxahachie Creek High School project at the approximate cost of $795,352. Mr. Collins.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Board and Dr. Averitt. Have a couple of items for you today, generally related to the construction project over at Waxahachie Creek. First one is the materials testing and engineering services on that project. Geotech is the firm that we have used at Hancock, Findlay, and Howard. We're pleased with the service that we've received from them, and so it's a recommendation to proceed to use Geotech Engineering for the materials testing at Waxahachie Creek. Right now, the best guess we have is just shy of $800,000 on that project. We will get a better idea kind of as we go through it, and we may have to come back and ask for a little more authorization if there's additional testing than what is currently planned to happen on that site.
Questions for Mr. Collins? Okay, I entertain a motion to approve action item A as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Timmerman.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCutcheon. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And moving on to action item B, consideration of possible action to approve easement to Encore at Howard Junior High.
Thanks, sir. Board, this is actually an item that is a little bit out of order. So this item relates to the relocation of the main power line over at Howard Junior High. You know that we've already relocated the main power line at Howard Junior High because of where the construction is going. So it's kind of a little after the fact that we're asking for an easement so that Encore will have access to where the power line is and they can service that line going forward over at Howard Junior High.
Questions, comments? Okay, I entertain a motion to approve action item B as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kriegel. Second by Mr. Schofield. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, moving on to action item C, consideration with possible action to approve renovations at the Ellis County Appraisal District.
Board, we recently received an email from Kathy Rodrigue over at the Appraisal District. I learned something new when I got the email. Apparently, when they have funds in their budget to do a renovation project, they still have to ask for approval to do the renovation project from the taxing entities within the county. Okay, learned something new. So Ms. Rodrigue advises that they have funds in their budget to turn a couple of larger spaces into smaller more conference-style spaces, more conference room-style spaces, and she says that will benefit the taxpayers of Ellis County because there'll be more spaces for the appeals hearings to happen over there. This is all within their budget. They're not asking for any funds from any of the taxing entities. They're just asking for approval of that project to move forward in accordance with with Texas law.
Questions, comments on action item C? Okay, consider a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kriegel,
Second.
second by Mrs. Timmerman. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Action item D, consideration with possible action to approve the purchase of HVAC units for Waxahachie Creek High School from Texas Air Systems at the price not to exceed $5 million.
Board, we did an RFP for the HVAC units over at Waxahachie Creek High School. We know these are going to be a significant number and a significant purchase. We don't need them immediately, but what we are seeking is to go ahead and get the order in and get them purchased in 2024 pricing and not have to purchase them with anticipated price increases next year in 25. As part of our solicitation, we asked for the respondents to give us information or to actually give us a all-inclusive price, including storage and future delivery of these units at Waxahachie Creek when it was time in the construction project for those deliveries to happen. So we did get 2 respondents. We got one from Texas Air Systems and one from Carrier. In looking at the information that was responded to, or the responses from both parties, we did feel that the Texas Air Systems was more in line with the scope that we put out as part of the RFP. And so it is the recommendation to you today. For Texas Air Systems, I did increase the price a little bit from what their response had to give us a little bit of flexibility in case, as we work through the project, there's anything else that may have been missed, or we decide to size up a unit as we go through the project. So the original response from Texas Air was 4 million and change. Where is it? $4,929,502. So I did increase it about $70,000 just to give ourselves a little bit of a cushion, asking for the $5 million.
When I hear the names on that, I recognize the carrier names and very good equipment. I would assume the wholesale pricing, or not wholesale, but the wholesaler takes their systems supplying a similar unit quality line.
That's been our experience. In addition to reading their response in the documents, we've been using Texas Air Systems at a good number of campuses now. We've had really good quality of unit and really good response from them if we have any issues. So that's one of the main reasons we were looking to continue that relationship.
Mr. Collins? I was just gonna ask, even with the additional cost of storing them, by purchasing them early, is still a big cost saving than what's projected?
Yes, sir. So one of the things that we're really concerned about is a change in the Freon standards going forward. And so the Freon that's required starting in calendar year 25 forward is more flammable. And so we'd rather not get into that boat any sooner than we have to. So we'd really like to use some current model standards that we already have. We're familiar with them. We know how to service them. And then that more flammable Freon or cooling product is really not an area that we wanted to get into when we have the opportunity to go ahead and use something we're more familiar with.
Now you help set up my question. With those changes in the manufacturing requirements for the AC units,
Yes, sir.
are we anticipating there being any code changes by the city that would require us to have those newer units?
There's nothing that I'm aware of right now.
Okay, I didn't want us to go buy all these units and then the city say, well.
I'm going to go off our past working relationships with the city. When we were building Max Simpson and proposing to build Max Simpson, city was very upfront in telling us that there's a code change coming. So I would assume they know our timeline. They know that we're pushing to get this project fully approved and ready to go, all permits by April. So I would assume that they would have kind of given us a heads up, hey, this is coming down the pipe. We anticipate this to be a change. I'm not aware of any conversations with the city about that at this point.
Okay, thank you.
It's my understanding that Carrier's bid was actually cheaper, but they were deficient in several of the areas that we were requesting specs on, correct?
Yes, sir. So Carrier was about $1.3 million lower than the Texas Air Systems, but as we started looking through and matching it back to the scope, we noticed some significant variances, one of which the Carrier response did not appear to include the storage and future delivery of the equipment, which just on the surface of our thoughts as we're going through this would have made up a significant portion of that difference. But we did go through, and it's in your information that you have board, I believe it's page 20. There were about 7 or 8 variances from the published scope that we noticed in Carrier's response. Some of them not deal breakers. If we're really honest with each other, one set of filters versus 2 is not a deal breaker. But some of the other things we thought were rather significant, not including modulated reheat within the scope. And I will be really honest with you, I learned what that meant at the time. Mr. Kliss was educating me on exactly what that meant, and it really sounded like it was an efficiency gain to have the modulated reheat on the units as we requested, which Texas Air Systems did include. So that was just one of the big components that we looked at. And those variances in scope really, at the end of the day, for us outweighed the savings that we could have realized with that lower cost.
Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item D as presented. Motion by Mr. McCutcheon, second by Mr. Schofield. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And our last action item will be consideration with possible action to approve the second early package for the Waxahachie Creek High School project from Poe Construction at a price not to exceed $20,250,000.
Thanks, sir. Board, I actually have an update on that pricing number. It's not to exceed $18,259,072. So at the time that we were publishing the agenda, we needed a placeholder as Pogue still worked through reviewing the scope of the responses and making sure that they were comfortable with the proposed vendor responses. So that is a decrease of almost $2 million from the original placeholder amount, but the amount that's being requested today for approval is $18,259,072. The second package includes structural steel on the site, and it also includes the electrical switchgear. You may remember back when we did the interviews for contractor, we heard nothing but switchgear, switchgear, switchgear. Mr. Mott tells me that the pressure on switchgear has eased a little bit. We're not looking at 52-plus weeks. We are still looking at roughly 40-something weeks. At this point, going ahead and getting the switchgear in the queue is something that we would like because it will accelerate that delivery, but it's not critical at this point. We're not looking at paying extra to enter a program or to accelerate that delivery on switchgear. As far as the structural steel, board, we had provided you with some plans, some site plans, and some floor plans as were requested, so I hope that you've had a chance to kind of look those over. We do have the structural steel will allow us to go ahead and get in line for that. We can't just go to Home Depot and pick structural steel up off the shelf. It would be lovely if we could. So that will go ahead and get us in the queue to start having our steel manufactured, and then we'll start getting it delivered on site in time for the construction project itself. Any questions?
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item E with the noted change of price being $18,259,072.
072.
So moved.
A motion by Mrs. Timmerman,
Second.
second by Mrs. Kriegel. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And I need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Pitts, second by Mr. Cooper. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you guys very much, and I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Board.